Vernomatic Productions.
Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold. We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC. A proud member of the Pantheon podcast team.
It's getting nice and heavy.
Now, welcome our hosts, John the Vernomatic Verno.
Good evening, everybody. We certainly hope you're enjoying the month of Rocktober as much as we are up here. Tonight, we're diving into the chaotic and thrilling world of glam rock with Sam Spade of the band The Midnight Devils. Sam's here to give us an inside look at their journey across the globe, their wild tour stories, and what went into creating their latest album, So Hard It Hurts. We also discuss the evolution of their high-energy glam rock image and their on-stage theatrics. Sam talks about the band's rock anthem, Get Laid, and its unexpected origins. He also discusses how, ironically, how rock and roll survives and lives in the strip clubs and why it's the perfect testing ground for exposing new audiences to their hits. He shares tales from the road, lost passports, gun battles, and other chaotic tour stories. He even shares an encounter with a deceased rock legend's alleged long-lost son in Australia. That's a good one, so stick around for that. But before we get into it, head over to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our exclusive merch page. Hey, it's up. We're in the fall now. It's third week of October, and up at the website at the merch page, we got brand new hoodies, T-shirts. We got Halloween shirts. We got winter hats, posters, phone cases. Pick some merch up. Your support keeps us rocking. It's a great way to show support for the show. While you're there, sign up for our newsletter, stay updated on new episodes, interviews, reviews, and reminders for our live radio show on Monday night that I do on Metal Devastation Radio. If you missed some recent episodes, we've had some pretty good guests. Bobby Blitz from Overkill and Jarvis Letherby from Night Demon discussing the triple bill that they're on with King Diamond that just started this week. Let's see, 2 weeks ago, we had the EVH 4-year death special, a tribute to Eddie Van Halen. And that same week, we had Jesse Fink, the author that did the new book, Bond, Notes from the Highway, the continuing series of Jesse's books surrounding AC/DC. Hey, if you love what we're doing here, hit that subscribe button, leave us a review. We'll even read it on some future shows. So let's keep this Rocktober celebration rolling by diving into the world of glam rock with Sam Spade of the band The Midnight Devils and learn what keeps the Midnight Devils ticking and why their shows are experienced like no other. I'm the Vernomatic. This is Metal Mayhem ROC. So here we are, Rocktober, halfway through the month. Halloween's right around the corner. And no better way to celebrate Halloween than my buddy Sam Spade from the Midnight Devils. Sam, welcome back to Metal Mayhem ROC. How are you, buddy?
It is awesome to be back. Vernomatic, thank you so much for having me. This is really, really cool. And it's like time just standing still and we're chatting again.
Again, first time we had a chance to meet Sam was, I think it was March 23 down at the Rockin' Pod in Nashville. And, Sam was just walking around in full gear, just doing the rounds. He sat down and my co-host, Southern Cal, who's from Melbourne, happened to see the band in concert, said, hey, that's that fucking guy from that band. And so that's the first time we had a chance. And at the time, it was 2023. And the last album, Never Beg For It was out, and you were doing the promo for that. But here we are, Rocktober 2024. Their third one just came out in July. So Hard It Hurts. Sam, get us up to speed. What's been going on since we parted in Nashville in 23?
I'm telling you, a ton of stuff has happened, and it's all been good stuff. And that's really the cool thing. Since we talked, we've toured the world about 2 or 3 times. In 2023, I think we did Europe. We did our tour in Australia, and we came back. We decided, man, I think the timing is right. Like, we need to set out the next chapter of the Midnight Devils and make the story, whatever the story that we're gonna tell, for the next 2 years, we got to create that thing and kind of breathe life into the Midnight Devils and really push it to another level. And that's exactly what we did in January. We recorded our third album, So Hard It Hurts, down in Florida, in like West Palm Beach area, with this awesome, amazing team of Rick Browdy, who you know from Double Live Gonzo, Ted Nugent, the first Poison record, the first Faster Pussycat record, and Cher Ross from Vixen, and Bam Ross from Dogs D'Amour. We recorded that record. We did a small American tour, did like the M3 Festival. We did a tour with Handsome Dick Manitoba from the Dictators, which was like a dream come true. Not the most successful tour, but one of the coolest tours we've ever done with just a rock and roll legend. After that, the album dropped on July 5th. And when it dropped, we were over in Australia again, kicking off a 3-week tour that took us all the way through the entire country. Following that, we jumped straight from Australia over to Japan and made our debut, 8 shows, 10 days in Japan. Following that, we did the UK and Norway. So, I mean, it's just been a ton of stuff, but it's all been really great and really cool stuff.
Wow, Sam, that's really far. That's the other side of the world. That's impressive to get consistent work over there. Anyone that's not familiar with the Midnight Devils, this press notes a high energy glam, slam, boogie woogie rock and roll band. Sam isn't in full makeup today, but in the video of this, I'll be inserting pictures of what the band looks like. If you were to explain someone that has never seen Midnight Devils, how would you describe your look?
We are, at the core of it, we are a glam rock party band. That's the easiest way to describe it. Now that takes on a lot of different facets. I would like to compare it to we're this hyper party rock and roll band that kind of gets the pass to kind of do whatever we want and create whatever we want. These looks, this feeling, this atmosphere of complete and utter chaos, surrounded by having a good time. I mean, that's really what it is. It's kind of the Midnight Devils. I link it to, or I equate it to, it's this freedom that we get to travel and to be who we want to be and dress however we want to dress. And we kind of grew up listening to those rock and roll bands, Kiss, Ramones, Van Halen, all these great bands. So with Midnight Devils, we're like, how are we gonna push this even farther? How are we gonna get people's attention? And we not only do it for ourselves, but we do it for everybody out there, those Kiss fans, those diehards, those guys that love this glam rock music. We're the only band that's out there that's putting on lipstick, pink lipstick, and playing boogie woogie rock and roll. I mean, it's really that simple. We're the only guys that have the balls to do it.
Yeah. There's some other acts out there. My guys, Danny and Chad and Wicked from up here in upstate New York. But even in their outlook, they've changed a little bit. They still subscribe to what you subscribe to. That 70s glam. They're big into Kiss, Thin Lizzy, the classics. But when you go to a Midnight Devils show, it's a 3-piece band. The rest of the band, you got Sniper on guitar, Jimmy Mess on drums. You guys, you're a live band.
Absolutely.
Sure, the album, there's excitement in the album and it comes through, but when you go see them live, and some of the videos that I've seen, and even I mentioned my co-host Southern Cal saw you down in Melbourne, I think in the early 2023. Again, the turnout wasn't as big as some other shows, but the performance, that's what captured Cal. Mm-hmm. Because these guys were playing like there was 10,000 people there. And any killer band will give that to their fans so when they walk away, you're a fan for life. So let's talk about your stage set. And is there pyrotechnics? What kind of stage presentation you bring?
Yeah, so I think with this band and really like being able to travel internationally, you kind of got to rethink the wheel. So what we're trying to do is put on this incredible show that people are just gonna be blown away by, right? They're just like, we're in this party from the moment these guys hit the stage. We're in this party all the way to the 45 minutes, the hour long, and so we're up there, and we always fly that banner, like that Midnight Devils banner. No matter clubs are big or small, I'm up there putting that banner, hanging that thing, because it's like that reinforcement. You never saw Kiss on stage without their banner. You'll never see the Midnight Devils up there. So it's this takeaway that is not only from the band, but it's the audience as well. So we combine like there's no definition, there's no line. So it's the three guys up on stage, but we'll break down that wall and come out and sing and throw $69 bills into the audience. We got pink balloons that go flying in the middle of a show. I mean, we got all this cool stuff that's like it just adds to the excitement. And the fact of the matter is, when you boil it down, the three of us are excited to get up on stage to play. We don't take this for granted. We get up on stage and play, leave it all, like that smoking crater on the stage, because we're excited we get the opportunity to do this. We're never going to phone it in or give you anything less than 100%. That's never going to happen.
Compare the other side of the world audience to the USA, because there is a difference.
Absolutely. Playing in the USA is the home of rock and roll. It's the birthplace of rock and roll. But for some reason, it's more difficult to get people to come out on a Tuesday night, a Wednesday night, a Thursday night, stay out late, go out going crazy. In the US, it doesn't hit like that. So what we've kind of found is that we've said, let's go travel overseas and see what happens over there. And it hit really, really big. It hit in Australia our second time through. The first time when your co-host saw us, it was our first tour there. It was our first time stepping on Australian soil. The second time through, the crowds were twice as big, and people were excited to see us. I mean, people were excited to come hang out, and they're bringing us weed and they're bringing us presents, and everybody's going crazy. And it just seems like the attitude is a lifestyle. The rock and roll thing is more of a lifestyle overseas than it is here in the USA. Now, we still have those diehards here in the USA, but it's not like it is over there. Over there, you see guys with battle vests, and it's just that we live this every day. And in the US, it's a little bit different. You just got to lead them more into the party. You got to push a little bit harder, apply the pressure, if you will.
Well, a fact check. My co-host lives in Melbourne, Florida.
Got it.
That's where he saw you guys. So seeing that the other side of the world has that different outlook, is there a conscious business effort to concentrate on over there?
Yes, you're 100% right on that. So what we did intentionally and unintentionally is starve the USA. Our families here, but the tours were great that we did. But we're like, man, our whole goal is to get out and travel and see the world and play to people that love this type of music. We're like that niche market, where we're not everybody's cup of tea, but we can be if we get in front of you. It's like we can win over an audience no matter who it is. I got complete faith in that. But it's like getting people out. So we're like, we signed with an Australian record label because we had that much faith in what we're doing overseas and the people that we're talking to, the albums that are being sold. Like we went out on tour, that album dropped, and we did all those shows in Australia and Japan, and it was just eye-opening how much this band resonated with fans of rock and roll, metalheads, punk rockers, anybody that's into music. There's no denying the electricity that happens on stage. So it's like with this album, especially So Hard It Hurts, we had to try and connect that live show with a tangible piece of music and make that a real representation of what the Midnight Devils are. So yes, absolutely. We're like, well, let's do. And in our heads, we're like, we have the best job in the world. If we can just keep doing this, like keep touring overseas every year, like there's no stopping it. There's no limit. And I think that's the coolest thing about the Midnight Devils, that freedom, that no limit. You do, if you dream it, you can do it.
What's the age bracket over there? Young kids, old kids, both?
It's roughly the same. On the last tour that we did was in the UK, supporting Kicking Valentina. And I would say that the age was anywhere from 21 to 50. That's what it was.
Okay.
And so it's older people that love rock and roll, that grew up on this style of music, go, oh, I see what they're doing. It's new, it's modern glam, but it takes me back to the 80s, to the 70s. And I dig that. Where new kids, newer or younger kids are really finding this, and they're going, all right, this is the type of music that's not being played anymore. And especially with like HRH is a big festival in England, and these people kind of make like it's every weekend this festival happens, but it's this core group of people that love this style of music. And there's, thousands of them that come out to these festivals every year, every weekend. And it's just that lifestyle. And then they want to be entertained.
That's awesome. And the cool thing is it's old school kind of glam by younger people doing it.
Yep.
It's not like a little cringeworthy when you got 60-year-old guys doing, the glam stuff. So,
Yes.
So before we jump into the album, how many of these songs are you playing live?
We've got 3 of them in the set currently. So we have a song, the new single, Get Laid. We have one called Left Leanin'. We have one called Shock the World. And we just introduced the title track, So Hard It Hurts. We've just finished it. We did it all at Soundcheck in Norway. And we're finally like, all right, I think the song is ready to kind of see the light of day. And that, I think, is the coolest thing. Doing so many shows over so many years, it still gets me excited when we were able to take a song and put it into our live set. Like that translation is still the most exciting thing, the best part of being in a band.
Well, I asked because the opening track, To the Hard Way.
Yeah.
These are my notes. The opening track delivers a high energy punch, essence of glam with the fast paced guitar riffs, and the explosive rhythm section. It's the perfect way to kick off the album.
To the Hard Way is exactly what you said it was. And I really think it kind of, that song, we wanted a power track to lead it off, and something that was fast, something that is just like, it got straight to the point. And I think To the Hard Way was that song that kind of goes back to our punk rock roots. And Jimmy and I, we grew up in punk rock bands, touring since we were 20. I tell everybody, like, I've been in a touring band for 20 years now, if you can even believe that. Like, I've been on the road for 20 years. But To the Hard Way was really a song that goes back to that, sleeping in your van, driving, playing basement shows, doing all these crazy things just because that's what you do in a punk rock band. There was no other option. Like, you were just happy to be on the road. I think To the Hard Way is really that song that kind of captures that essence of where we started and where we're starting this album, kind of that throwback to our punk rock roots.
Phone rings just about the same time every night. You smell the trash burning up the other line. Biggest stars here just to steal the show. Glaring snake eyes at the rock and roll rodeo. That's To the Hard Way. The craft it is and the way it's gonna be. That's To the Hard Way. When, what park, and who do I pay? Drove around the night to avoid reality. Fueled by weak greed, sex and jealousy. Rocking into the night, keep pouring out the stereo. Nobody ever disrespect the special. That's To the Hard Way. The crap it is and the way it's gonna be. That's To the Hard Way.
Metal Mayhem ROC.
Well, you said it before, the single and the video, Get Laid.
Yeah.
You went, it's an anthem.
This will be a little minutia for you that you're going to really, the information here that you can pick up. So when we went down, we had 12 songs, 11 songs ready to rock. We met Rick. We had never met Rick before prior to us going down to Florida. So Rick Browdy, this illustrious producer. And so our tour manager in Italy's like, you need to meet this guy. I love the Midnight Devils, but you don't have the songs. And I'm like, man, that's kind of a dick thing to say. He's like, no, trust me, I love you guys, but you need a producer that's going to pull these songs out and make them into these 3.5 minute rock and roll, just classics, right? And I go, yeah, you're totally right. And we call up Rick and he's like, I love it. Come down to Florida. Let's make this happen. We go down there, nervous as hell, right? So we walk into his office and he's like, all right, we need to rewrite the lyrics on some of these songs. I go, cool, no problem. But in my head, I'm thinking, man, I got to take a step back and my ego gets a hit, because they're my songs. What is this guy doing? And I look over at the wall, right? And there's Double Life Gonzo platinum record hanging on the wall. And I'm like, I should probably just shut the fuck up and listen to what this guy has to say, And with Get Laid, that song came at the very end of the session, of the recording session. And Rick goes, you know what? I love you guys, but I don't hear a single. I wrote this song called Get Laid for an Italian band. Would you guys be interested in doing it on your record? And I was like, you know what? I don't know. It's kind of weird. Like, the lyrics aren't my lyrics. It's different. And we listened to the song. We played it a few times, and I called my girlfriend back home, and I go, I don't know what to do. This is like out of my wheelhouse, and I don't want to be put in a situation where I got to sing a song for the rest of my life that I don't necessarily agree with. And she's like, did you look at the platinum records on the wall? And I was like, yeah, I'm sitting right next to him. She's like, why don't you just shut up and sing the song? I was like, cool, no problem. And we went in and we did the song, and it turned out amazing, right? And I'm like, okay, Rick is a genius, because this song hits not only on girls and guys, but it crosses every boundary of race, sex, creed, anything that there is. You can hear that song and go, yeah, I want to get laid tonight. Anybody can hear it.
Does the song, seeing it's a cover, if you will, does it subscribe to the Midnight Devil theory?
Yeah, so what happened was I was unsure, and we went in and did the song, and the song hit. And I started playing the song at the strip club that I work at. And the strippers all started singing the song. The 20-year-old strippers in Nebraska started singing the song. I go, that's proof right there that this song is good and it hits. And we did the video, and the strippers went even more crazy in the video, right? And we shot the video at my strip club, and I was like, okay, Rick, you got it. Like, this song, it reminds me of that song Crazy Bitch by Buck Cherry. Everybody loved that song because it doesn't exclude anybody. You know, it's universal.
Well, you know what, Sam? I'm going to have to consult my colleagues, Danny Myers and Elong Fong from What's Hot in the Strip Club podcast. They're the largest strip club podcast, and what they talk about is the music in strip clubs. So
listen to the podcast.
Yeah, so I'll send a little plug their way. So
do it, because I'm going to hit them up too and be like, here is the song that you've been dying for in the strip club, the rock and roll song. And that's the hardest thing in a strip club, is that rock and roll doesn't get the representation, except for Crazy Bitch. That song I can play any night and people go ballistic. So I really feel like Get Laid is kind of in that vein. It's that same idea.
Well, you know, every year they run a contest, the Strip Club Hall of Fame top 5.
Okay.
And I think they did 1 and they did 2, and this year will be 3. And let me ask you, Sam Spade of Midnight Devils, what do you think the first 5 song class was for the Strip Club Hall of Fame music?
What? So you're asking me what I think?
Yeah, the first year, I think it was 2023. They held a contest and fan balloting, voting, and the top 5 strip club songs in the Strip Club Hall of Fame.
Okay.
Well, they're all rock songs.
Oh, they're all rock songs. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, like, you know, like Pour Some Sugar on Me.
Sure.
Cherry Pie. Cherry Pie. You Shook Me All Night Long. Yep. It's like, so the rock, the rock genre is represented. I never knew Nebraska was such a strip club hotbed.
It absolutely is, and I don't mean like to go off on the strip club tangent, but I can talk about this for hours. And there's 2 takeaways. The first is that did you watch the Nothing But a Good Time documentary?
Not yet. I've listened to the book on Audible.
Okay,
but, that's on my viewing list.
In that documentary, they're talking to Def Leppard, right? Phil Collin from Def Leppard, and they go, Pour Some Sugar on Me was nothing until these strip clubs in Florida picked it up and they started playing the song. Next thing you know, everybody's listening to Pour Some Sugar on Me. So with that, I go, oh, that's a brilliant. That's the idea that we have with Get Laid. Now in Nebraska, we have this really cool strip club that we've kind of turned into like a spot where bands are welcome and weirdos and people of all, you know, anybody that's kind of coming through town, I can invite them to come to the strip club. We had the guys, and we're not supposed to talk about this, right? But when Night Ranger was in town, I knew like some of their techs, and I invited them to the strip club on a Sunday night. We picked them up in the strip club party bus, right? We're smoking, having a good time, and they come and they're up in the DJ booths, calling out girls. Like, so this strip club that we have here is this really cool place where I tell everybody, like, you can be as creative and as unique as you want to, and this is the place for you to do it every single night of the week.
Well, you know, the Abbott brothers had the famous strip club down in Texas, so
yeah, exactly.
So I think strip clubs and rock and roll, you know, they're cousins. They go hand in hand. Another killer track is the song Rage. Opens with a slide guitar, then quickly shifts into a full glam punk mode. The gang vocals and the rebellion lyrics scream glam. Talk about the song Rage.
Yeah, and that one, I really think, if I look back at it, I remember writing a lot of that in my head driving back from Nashville. And just thinking in my head, like, this kind of, it's that rebellious, like, we're going to do what we want to do no matter what you say. Like it, love it, don't like it, hate it. It doesn't matter to me. We're still coming. And the fact that you're listening is icing on the cake, you know. So with the Midnight Devils, it's that take no prisoners attitude at all times. We're going to do what we want to do. And nobody can really tell us otherwise, you know, like tour managers have tried and headlining acts have tried to kind of bring it down a notch, but it's never going to work. And with this band, we just kind of realized we are who we are, the three of us, and we love each other. We're brothers. We're going to have a really good time being on tour, doing what a rock and roll band does best. And that's just causing trouble, having fun. And Rage is that.
Just to satisfy this craving. If you don't know my name by now, when this is all over, you'll never forget a slick reputation without all the implication. I am the Rage Reawakened.
Well, you know what? You opened the door. Let's talk a little bit about your brothers in metal. Sniper on guitar. And Tommy, how come Tommy Mess doesn't have a nickname? He's on
Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. I can't even read my own scribble. Yeah, Jimmy. Tell us about your brothers in metal. How long you guys been together?
Yeah. So Sniper and I, we have been together for almost 15 years now. We started in a band called 3D in Your Face, which was the precursor, was the 80s hair metal tribute band that released 2 albums of original material. It was the precursor to the Midnight Devils. Sniper and I have been together that long, just kind of brothers in arms. We've wrote together, we've lived together, we've done everything together for 15 years, and I think that really shows in our songwriting, the way that we operate, the way that we work. Jimmy Mess was he came into the picture. He was actually the second drummer of the Midnight Devils. We had a guy who didn't even last 6 months in the beginning, had a really bad drug problem and couldn't hang. It was really that simple. Like, you're in the Midnight Devils, you have a bad drug problem, and it was so bad that you couldn't even hang.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we wouldn't have cared if you had a drug problem, but it was so bad that you couldn't even hang. So Jimmy, we called Jimmy, and he lived in Chicago at the time. We were in the middle of a tour. He's like, bro, I'd love to do the rest of the tour. All you got to do is drive to Chicago and pick me up, which is no easy feat in the Midwest. That's like 24 hours of driving, but he was in, and he was in from that very first day, learned all the songs in the van ride, and has been in this band, and we call him the heartbeat. He's the glue that holds us all together.
Good, the glue.
He lives in New Orleans now, but he's the rock and roll space alien. Where Sniper is the guy that's kind of our musical director and holds us all accountable to not suck on stage. You know, he's like, have your ass ready, because we're gonna do this. And if you mess up, you're gonna hear about it. Jimmy is like that glue that kind of just seeps in, but keeps everything in place.
Well, he's corporate of the band. He's not there to... Yeah.
That's right.
Now, the band, obviously, most of these songs are between 3 and 5 minutes in length. You hit them and you get out. And you're not short on anthems. But the one track, One More Night, this is an anthem. Is this in the set? And let's go to my notes. It's all about attitude and swagger. Vocals are punchy. The rhythm is killer. It's the song's live show energy is undeniable. Is it in the set list?
We have not put that one in the set list yet. We have not even practiced it yet.
Really?
So that was one we had written for the album, and I love it. I think it is. It's a lot of the songs and stuff. the lyrics come from actual 90% of it is actually what we go through and what we see on the road, what we experience. And I think that's the cool thing, is that it's the song's lyrics are relatable to people, just everyday people that kind of go through these things. And so it's like, you're not asking permission. I'm going to do what I want regardless. Well, I'm not going to ask you for permission. I'm just going to go out. Tonight is my night. I'm going to have a blast doing this. And I think that's really what that song is about, is I'm not asking anybody for permission. I'm going to go out and take what I want and do the things that I think I need to do to be successful or to have a good time, to make memories and make stories.
I got the impression, it hit me, and I had that feeling it should be a live song.
I'll tell Sniper. We'll put it in. He loves that song. It's his favorite song off the album.
Well, and maybe you just need a little encouragement. Yep. Devil's Unstoppable. My notes. Let's see. Lyrics about life on the road, their passion for rock and roll. It's a fitting anthem for this band. Heavy riff is in relentless energy. Seems to be the common denominator on a lot of these Midnight Devil songs.
Yep.
Tell us about this song.
You're totally right. And the line in that song, that the kicker line is like, we couldn't even make this shit up if we tried. Right? So with the Midnight Devils, it's never as easy as like you get in a band and you go on tour. No, there's always stuff that happens, like the most impossible things. And I'm thinking like the stories that we have, even on the last tour in the UK, like I lost my jacket that had my passport in it. My leather jacket got disappeared. It was the first night of the tour, and I thought, this is it. I'm the guy. I'm the other that messed up the whole entire tour. We found the jacket. It was fine. Nothing happened. But for 6 hours, I was calling the U.S. Embassy thinking, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm stuck in the UK. We got to go to Norway. I don't even know what I'm going to do. And that's just one tour. Like the tour before that, our tour manager flushed the keys to our rental car down the toilet in Australia, like after a gig. So we're like, whatever can happen is always going to happen with the Midnight Devils. We have these incredible stories from gun battles at our shows, the owners shooting off guns and people just going crazy, to flushing the keys down the toilet, losing your passport. All these insane things are part of what being in a great rock and roll band is about. And so what we're kind of trying to do is tell that story so that it's relatable to anybody listening.
So rewind here. You lost your passport. You found it, and I'm sorry, that 6 hours must have really sucked. Would you do moving forward? Did you change procedure on passports so that would never happen again?
No, yeah. Basically what it turned into is a 2-week long running joke of every time you saw another guy in the band, they would be like, do you have your passport? Do you have your passport? Do you have your passport? And you'd be like, I have it. Thanks for asking. So it all turned into a joke, and where it's like nobody could lose anything on the tour, because if you did, you were the butt of relentless jokes. And so that's what this is, that whole thing. And I go back to that song thinking, if we could make it up, like people wouldn't even believe the stories that we have and the insanity that we go through just on a normal tour. So I always think, like, when we're starting a tour, there's going to be something ridiculous that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. Some giant mountain that we're going to have to climb, that we're going to have to get out of this hole to get back on track. And that's kind of the name of the game with the Midnight Devils. What ridiculous thing is going to happen that we're going to have to overcome?
Well, that's so true. That's life, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's represented in this band. And I think that's like the coolest thing ever, because it's never boring. And if it was boring, nobody'd be interested. So with this band, it's always just like the most ridiculous thing that could happen is going to happen. Just prepare yourself for it.
Oh, sure. All right. The last song, Too Much. These are my notes. Killer closer, fist pumping, guitar driven beast of a track. Tell us about this song. And is there a reason why it's the last song? No, absolutely not. There was no going into it. We wanted to close with a strong song, so that people kind of go through all the album and you say these guys started with a strong song and you end with a strong song. And I don't think like putting weaker songs at the end of an album is the smart way to do. Just tack them on at the end. I don't think that's the way to go about it. You whittle it down to your best songs and your tightest tracks and put them on there. With this song, that was definitely another one of those kind of punk rock anthems in my head, like watching as the world burns around us.
like with the Midnight Devils, we go Let It Burn. Let's see what happens. Let it burn.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna have a good time doing it. And if tomorrow is not like a, guaranteed. So tonight we're gonna live like there is no tomorrow. It's really that simple. Like, we're gonna have a blast. We're gonna go out in that ball of flames, no matter what. Good, bad, ugly. It's still gonna be a good time. I really think with too much, that's that kind of attitude. Like that fuck you. We're gonna do what we want.
Sure. So bottom line, Sam, my assessment, 12 tracks on So Hard It Hurts. Bold, gritty, fun record. The band has definitely grown up, and it stays true to their glam rock roots,
Yeah.
And we'll be giving it some spins up on our radio show on Monday nights on Metal Devastation Radio. So again, So Hard It Hurts. Sam, off air, you shared a story about when you were in Australia. And at the beginning of this month, we had Jesse Fink on, the rock author that just released his brand new Bon Scott book, Bon, Notes from the Highway. And in our interview with Jesse, we talked about the rumor of Bon Scott having a son. Well,
right.
Tell the story of what happened in Australia, and this sort of coincides with that Jesse Fink story.
Yeah, so we were playing, it was about halfway through the tour. We played and we got off stage, and we're opening for an AC/DC tribute band called Bomb But Not Forgotten. Incredible. They're really, really good. They don't have like the costumes or anything. So they don't have like an Angus. They just come out and play the songs, and they're great. It's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
We love opening for them. We step off stage, and the singer comes up to me and she's like, I think Bon Scott's son is here. And I was like, his son? I've never heard that he had a son. And she goes, well, he's a very, very illegitimate son that is not talked about, right? It's just not brought up. But that night, he walked in with this blonde with giant boobs, right? And people are treating him like he's royalty. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess he is Bon's son. Like, that makes sense. So they bring him up on stage, and they introduce him as Bon Scott's son, and he's going to sing a song. And he got up on stage, kind of got through the song, but people were going crazy, and they kind of accepted it. Now the guys in the band, like, I'm sitting on the stage kind of watching the other people in the band, and they're like a little iffy. Everything's kind of, nobody really knows.
Yeah.
Until I listened to your interview with Jesse, right? And I go, well, I don't have any yes or no definitive answer. He's out there doing cocaine, going crazy, having a blast, really, really living up that he's Bon Scott's son. So in my mind, I was like, well, I mean, if he's doing it, then he must be. And then I listened to Jesse's interview, and I was like, whoa,
yeah,
this guy kind of is full of shit. Like, that he may or may not be, but Jesse kind of pretty much paints it out there that it's not really what you think it is. And I go, oh, okay, that makes a little bit more sense.
Did this guy look like Bon, or?
He actually weirdly did.
Well,
he was like a skinny dude. He had kind of long hair. He didn't have the voice, but he tried.
Well, Sam, it may be that he resembles Bon, so he ran with that. It's like, oh yeah, yep. I'm Bon's illegitimate son, and
the other cool thing is that we got to meet the original drummer from the High Voltage album, and that was one of the cooler things too. He came up and played with this AC/DC tribute band, the original drummer, and I believe his name's Tony.
Okay, I only knew the original singer, Dale.
Yeah. So and that's another thing is that Tony owns like a pizza shop in Australia, but he came out and did a couple shows with the AC/DC tribute band, and they introduced us, and I'm like, this is like the coolest thing ever. He got up and played High Voltage with them, and you're listening to High Voltage played by the guy who was in the studio writing that song with AC/DC. Very, very cool. And the AC/DC fans that came to this show were just so cool, right? Like, you became part of the family, the AC/DC family, just by supporting this tribute band. And I thought that was one of the coolest things ever. The stories that they all had was just monumental.
That's awesome. That's other side of the world. It's
yeah.
Wow. So Sam, hey, how could people stay in touch with Midnight Devils?
It's super easy. We're very active on all of our social medias. So Facebook, Instagram, we're on X. You can go to the midnightdevils.com is the best place to go and check out. We got a bunch of merch that's available. t-shirts, CDs, the brand new album, So Hard It Hurts. We're working on a vinyl release right now. So Get Laid has a companion to it, which is the Get Laid dance single. See, we're really pushing the strip club thing if you didn't catch it.
Yeah.
So the next vinyl that comes out will be Get Laid with a B-side of the Get Laid dance single, which is like a 6-minute long version of the song. But I think the takeaway is that we love putting out really, really cool merchandise, like stuff that we wanted our favorite bands to put out, like great vinyl, new singles, like colored stuff, all this, anything that we can think of, we're going to kind of put out. Like I'm a huge Kiss fan, so you kind of take a page from that Kiss book of great images, great artwork.
Yep.
Let's put it on something and make it our own.
I see on your website you have a December 7th show in Florida, I believe. Yes. Any U.S. dates? We're October. What's the U.S. touring landscape look like? Any dates?
Yeah. So December 7th, actually, it's in Cincinnati.
Okay.
Cincinnati, Ohio, Kenny Ozfest. We played it last year, sold out, and they cap it at like 500 tickets. And they're planning another sellout for this year. This is a big all-day festival, and we're headlining it this year. Last year we played with Billy Morris from the guitar player Warrant, the original guitar player Warrant. So our plan is, since we starved the U.S. for so long, I think in 2025 we're going to come out with a big U.S. tour and kind of do a big party for all of our friends that we didn't get to celebrate with last year. And so it's going to be the U.S. Support of the new album, So Hard It Hurts. We're going to try and do as much as we can in the US. We're going to go back to Europe. We're going to go back to Australia. We're going to go back to Japan. Like the outlook is big, and we want to just keep doing it as much as we can. Like you said, we're a road band. We're a live band. That's where we kind of we flourish, and we do our best work when we're just cruising down the highway or flying in the airplane or just up against the odds. That's what this band is we just want to work, and we want to have fun doing it.
Well, next spring when you get into the U.S., look me up. Maybe we'll get you up to Rochester, a Metal Mayhem, ROC, Midnight Devil.
Yeah,
show.
That'd be cool.
We've dipped our toe in club promoting. We've promoted a couple Dokken shows. We did Raven a couple years ago. We've been known to do it. I'm always just looking for the right show to do because...
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, we got some cool, you ever been to Rochester, New York?
No, we've only been to like Schenectady and kind of the Buffalo area, but that's about it.
Okay, so you've been to Buffalo.
Yeah, we played outside of Buffalo in, I can't even remember, some smaller town outside of Buffalo, but we stayed kind of right in that area. Some just tiny little place. And it was like a gig that I called up the guy like the day of, and I'm like, we need a show. He's like, come on up here and play.
Yeah, well, you know what? When you have your routing going, the invite's there. We'll stay in touch.
Perfect.
And we'll do it. So, again, the album So Hard It Hurts came out in July 5th. It's out there. Sam Spade, thank you for coming in and spending the afternoon with us. We appreciate it.
Hey, Verno, I appreciate it. It's a pleasure talking to you, and really a pleasure listening to the podcast. The whole thing is really cool. That we tie it all together. I really like that. And I was listening to it with my soon-to-be wife, and I go, we're listening to that AC/DC thing, and I go, I have an interview with him next week. She's like, get out of here. That's so cool.
Well, I have to give props to Carrie is your girlfriend's name?
Yeah, Carrie, yep.
We're friends on Facebook, and she does nothing but support you, support the band, and she's there. And any good rocker needs a great supporting cast. And props to Carrie. And, I don't want to get too personal, but put a ring on that finger, man. She's
I am in May. And that's the thing is, like, she jumped into this beast, this animal that is the Midnight Devils, unknowing about how wild and it like doesn't end. It's not like you do a tour and then you go, okay, that's it, I'm gonna be home for a while. No, you just keep going, and the tours keep happening, and the work that you do in the off season is just keep preparing for the next tour. So she jumped into this thing full force and has been just gas pedal down the whole entire time, and I can't thank her enough for that.
Yeah, well, props to her. All right, hey, listeners, remind you to get up to the metalmayhemroc.com website, check out the merch page. I just got proofs from my designer on winter hats and gloves. Hoodies are there, and, check out some past episodes. Again, for my guest, Sam Spade, the Midnight Devils, get out there, support the band, and always remember to keep it heavy. I'm the Vernomatic. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.